I'm going to just start off with welcome to the inner room with Out of My Damn Mind. This is the space where walls fall away, where stories don't just get told, they land. Messy, real, and alive. Here, writers open the door to what drives them, what haunts them, and what keeps them going. Every voice has its own rhythm, its own scars, its own sparks, and together we trace the threads that holds us, break us, and connect us all. With that being said, I cannot believe that I have had this is gonna be the 30th episode, and that it's with you, Michelle. Honestly,
I
you were
know.
one of the originals from Unscripted and Unfiltered, so I am so glad to finally reconnect with you and catch up with you. How are you doing today?
I'm great, and I remember this preparing for this. I was thinking about the first time I saw your live. I was in Arizona and you were interviewing or you were co-hosting with Anna.
Yeah, Lewis,
I
yeah.
forgot what her, yeah. And you guys were talking about being in Greece and all of the travel. So I kept, typing in and jumping in, getting, sticking my nose in there. And it was just so fun. I was like, man, this lady knows how to like have a conversation. Like not only with Anna, but you're so good at engaging everyone in the chat, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, that is obviously, my, key thing is once I started doing this, I was like, there's no way that I can ignore the chat. Like, I want my co-host to obviously always feel like the spotlight is on them because we're here for you. But
Yes.
I want the people that are in the room to also feel like they're a part of the conversation. So I love that conversation. That one was called Locals Loading. And I just remember me and Anna were like talking about how we moved to a different state, and then you came in and you were just talking about all this travel, and I was like, "Oh, you guys should, talk." And
Yeah.
then I was like,
Yeah.
"Fuck that. Me and Michelle should talk."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm so glad to have, round 2 with you. Um, you know, with that
Yeah,
being
yeah,
said,
nothing.
you were in a specific space that what was that? That was probably, 5 months ago or something.
Yes.
So where are you now?
So now I'm in Southern California. Thousand Oaks is like Ventura area,
Mm,
just north of LA.
it
So this
looks
is,
beautiful.
yeah, this is our backyard. And yeah, it's gorgeous. When I first moved back to the States, this is where I moved. Actually, I moved to LA, and this is where I met my husband in 2013. You know, this is where I had my child, but then we moved away. We had a couple other spots like Colorado and Michigan, and then we just ended up back here 10 years later.
Well, it's kind
So
of
it's
funny
kind of
that
a full circle moment.
well, for both of us because you're
Yeah.
now back home, and I feel like it's full circle. And this is I'm super excited to close out the year with you because, like I
Yeah.
said, you were one of my originals, so it just kind of feels that way for me. And I love how you went from sunshine states to cold states.
I know. It's so weird to be around Christmas here. It's actually been really warm this last like week or so. So it's like 80, 90 degrees and well, not 90, it's 80 degrees.
You know,
And
it's funny is my first Christmas in Florida. I was 25 years old, and I just remember it, being really weird to see homes with, Christmas decorations, but, it being 90 degrees, and I'm like
yeah,
it took it even till this day, I mean, my mom does all of the stuff, her house has all of these decorations, her and her husband have so much fun decorating their house, and I'm like, "But there's no snow. There's no it's not cold. It's like such a weird concept for me, but I'm like, everybody celebrates Christmas in their own ways, at least here in the States, because I'm sure when you were abroad, Christmas may have looked different as well, no?
oh yeah. I mean, I was in the Middle East for 10 years, and so there really was no Christmas. I mean, in Dubai, they put a Christmas tree up in the malls and stuff like that, but Ramadan is really like
Their
their
holiday.
Christmas.
Yeah.
It's not anything near Christmas, but it's their big holiday, where they have that type of like family celebrations like every night. So when the fast breaks, when they have Maghrib, which is the evening prayer.
Right.
So the sun goes down, they break the fast, and then they have the iftar. So it's just a big like celebration. So almost every single night they go to some family member's house. So it's basically like, you know, Christmas Eve or some family celebration every single night for 30 nights.
Yeah, but I don't know, I think that that's actually a lot cooler than what we do here for Christmas.
Yeah,
'Cause
and it's like
it's
gifts and
Yeah, it's not just one day and it over. It's like, here's the whole month of just spending time with loved ones and, all doing something together in tradition instead of like, every year feels different for me when it comes to a holiday. Like, it just things just
Yes.
change, people change, environments change, everything changes, so, I don't know. Don't get me started, I won't go down that rabbit hole because
Yeah.
I have all these feelings now about Christmas in America and how commercialized it is,
Yeah, it is.
it kinda has lost the value of what it was, to me anyways. Like, I much as an Italian household, Christmas Eve was a big thing for us. We were always at somebody's house and there's 7 fishes and, there
Yeah.
was
Oh, yeah.
like, it was something that was just time with people that we loved and cared about. Because I have I'm part of a small family. We spent a lot of time with a family friend, which was much bigger, of a family, so it felt really nice to be surrounded by people that cared, and we just played games and, you know, had fun having conversations, and I don't think anybody had a phone back then. It was very different, so sometimes I'm very thankful for the way that technology has advanced and the ability to be able to do this with you today, but
Yeah.
there are times where I'm like, simple was always better.
Yeah. You feel like you can your attention is sustained more in, one thing. You're not always, like, thinking about a text message or jumping on your phone.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting time of life nowadays. But for anybody that is new here, obviously I come up with 20 curated questions for my co-host, and since me and Michelle have done this before, um, it was interesting coming up with these 20 to make sure I didn't like repeat myself and ask anything that I've asked in the past.
Mhm.
But to stay true to where we are today. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
What's something small in your day to day that's giving you unexpected joy lately?
I think probably walking my dogs, um, because the weather is, always so nice, and so I've been doing it every single day, whereas in the past, like, when it got really cold or raining, I would skip, and then I would feel really guilty, like, "Oh," I would see my dog's big puppy eyes, um, so since the weather's always so nice here, I've been walking them every day and just seeing their joy, and also just me getting into that routine of being outside and having that as part of my day is giving me joy.
There is something that is so beautiful about, having a companion within a dog, and
Yes.
the healthiness that comes with that. Like, I found out my first dog when I was 17, so I've been walking dogs, so it feels like my whole life. And there is something that even in this cold ass weather that I'm just like, I don't want to do this, that it just still feels like the right thing to do. So I love that that's something that you get to really, really enjoy there because it's actually nice and sunny all the time.
I know.
I have to get to the West Coast. Me and Onyx are gonna come visit you guys because
Yes.
this
We
is
have plenty of
ridiculous.
room. You're welcome. We have 2 extra rooms. You're welcome to come stay anytime.
I I'm just always, like, so intrigued by the lifestyle and just how different it is from over here, and obviously the weather is one thing, but just, again, just the difference. Like,
The
what
culture
is,
is
like,
very different, yeah.
yeah, like, so you mentioned, like, being in Colorado and Michigan and stuff. What's one food that you think is better on the West Coast than over here, towards the East Coast?
I mean, all produce. I mean, you can get produce here, fresh produce here year round.
Mm,
That's definitely better.
sorry.
I mean, they just have more variety of healthy food, like plant-based.
Yeah, clean eating,
Even
that's better.
yeah, even here in, like, we kinda live in Newbury Park, it's like a suburb. It's, there's still a big variety of plant-based, it's endless healthy food choices, let's say that,
I kinda love
which
that.
I like, yeah,
I would say I'm on my plant-based diet now because I have hypothyroidism, and apparently that diet is better for me.
yeah,
So I'm always like there are certain places here like Kava and like other little bit more um like clean eating, but it'll cost you like $26 for a
yeah.
meal. And I'm
I
just
mean,
like
it's still expensive here.
I can only imagine. I'm over here like, "Oh my god, life is crazy."
Yeah,
I just wanna take a quick second and welcome in Sophia, the secret ingredient, and Rob Wilcox. Oh, Douglas Jonathan Vincent, thanks for joining us. Um,
welcome.
we're just getting started. If you're new to us, this is Michelle Ray. She has I love your name, States of Matter. Like, I don't know if you explained it on the first one, but do you want to tell us kind of what made you kind of pick that?
Sure. Okay, so I've been obsessed with this sort of
Mhm.
metaphor for a long time. So about 10 years ago, I'm a teacher, by the way. So I had my students were doing portfolios, and so they were including different types of writing, and some of them did them online, and so I did it alongside them. And I told them they'd have to have it like just a title that reflected all the various work, and I titled mine "States of Matter." And so it was meant to be like the metaphor basically is our all of our selves, like all of our past selves, and even like who we are in the moment, we're different. There's different energy that we have, right? Sometimes we feel solid, sometimes we're kind of vapor, sometimes we're liquid. Like it's we all have those different forms that we inhabit throughout our life and even our day, right? So I felt like this sort of transformational process that is just like a scientific term really does suit human development and the way people think and develop and act.
Literally every time I say it out loud, I come up with like a new meaning to it. I think it's a beautiful title, and I'm pretty sure you said that on the first one, but I'm glad that you
Yeah, but it's
repeated again
also
for the
yeah,
lovely
it's
people.
also very literal too, like the state of what matters.
Yeah. I mean,
So
like I said, every time I read it, I like it's like something else kinda clicks in my head, and I'm like, this is a very unique name that I'm kinda jealous I didn't think about, but it's okay.
yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm like, maybe I should change it because I don't know. If you have to explain it, then maybe it's not. But I'm sure people get it. I mean,
No, I but I also
right.
think but I also think it's unique to you too. I mean, it's a story that you're talking about has had weight and substance for a long period of time in your life. It was,
Yeah.
it's a cool way. The secret ingredient said, "Hi, Michelle," just so you know.
Well, and I
Beautifully
think
broken, and Linda, thanks for coming. Good.
yeah, I'll just add to that. I mentioned that I've traveled a lot and I've lived abroad for a long time, and one of the overwhelming feelings I've had when I'm living abroad is basically this feeling of weightlessness. Like I'm living on the periphery of the society, right? I'm not of that culture. And so I feel like sometimes like my feet don't make footprints. You know what I mean? Like I'm there, but I'm not really there. So
Mm.
that also is sort of wrapped up in the states of matter. It's like the feeling who we are when we're displaced. Like, are we really there? You know what I mean?
I think that that line is going to stay with me, probably forever. My foot don't make footprints, like, my feet don't
Yes,
make footprints.
that's what I
That
feel. I've
was
written a lot of poetry around that idea. Like, you're just kind of hovering.
that one just knocked my little that was beautifully put. David and Daniel, thanks for joining. Alicia, thanks for joining. All right, so with that
Yeah,
being
we're good.
said, uh, you your recent poem that you had, well, most recent one is Evolution, and obviously to me, like, that one was very significant in itself because I think that we all learn how powerful words are over
Mhm.
time, and I thought anyways, I'm gonna get into a question. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
What's something you've created recently, a poster, a poem, or even a small moment that surprised you with how meaningful it felt?
I mean, I think that poem, it's a poem that I've been working on for a while, like probably almost a year. Like I started it was just a line and it was an image. So I started writing poetry. I have this very specific memory. I was a child, like 6 or 7 maybe, and I would, you know, color on the notebook paper, and I put, I wrote the poem and I put the sun in the corner, and I gave it to my mom. And that was kind of the first experience of feeling like my words were more than just communication, like it was like a gift. Um,
Mm.
and then after that, I felt like my words were gifts. Like I would hand make cards and write poems or write, notes that were, well written, whatever. So I think the poem started with that image, and words obviously evolve over time. They hurt us, but they also help us grow. So I wanted the poem to show just the general progression of words, but also how words have helped me grow in particular.
I
So
mean, I think you nailed it so beautifully in that poem. I'm always poetry is something that I'm, like, learning, 1, to understand, 2, to really appreciate because I can't do that, and well, I haven't learned how to do that. I probably can do it. I just haven't
you can.
spent time to do that, right? So the way that anybody who writes poetry expresses themselves or the way that it comes through, I, like, sat there for a second and I was just like, first of all, do we all put the sun in the corner of the piece of paper?
I think
Like,
that's a
do we all do
universal
that?
thing. I think it's a universal thing. But I
That's
just
what I've been
remember like
told.
writing and like the crayons were important and then like I was pressing really hard and I didn't like to press hard on the crayons because they didn't last as long if you did that. But if it
Right,
was a really special thing, like I wanted to color it, like press it hard and make it really waxy and make it look good. And
yeah.
yeah, but I
I
think
love that you have that like, but that you have that, like, remembrance of that of being a kid and remembering why you did it that way at certain times and stuff.
yeah, and I think poems are about images, you know, and I mean one thing I love about writing is that you might have a very specific particular situation, but when you process it, it you kind of tap into universality and other people get it, right? And that only happens when you process your own particular specific life.
Right.
So it's yeah, and it's I think some of the times in my life that have been most painful is because of like words, like misunderstandings, or I'm sure all of us in like when we're teenagers or you know young kids, we're called names. You know, I was I had a really cute sister, and I was not cute. Like I had a really short haircut, and people always thought I was a boy, and I just was like a you know always kind of dirty. So people just you know
Me
called me names a lot, and I
yeah.
you know got in a lot of fights.
And if do you think if you knew back then what you know now about people that feel the need to communicate negative things about you, right? Those are usually people that are projecting their own issues right onto you. Do you think if we knew that as a kid, we would say have different responses to that?
Um, Probably not.
Probably not. You think you
I
should be
don't know. I don't know because it's the first few times it's not a problem, you know, but you get everyone has like it's repeated, right? So you become the the girl that looks like a boy. You know, there's like one name or one thing that sticks, right?
yeah.
And it's over and over and it's like it becomes part of your identity. And so it's insidious, right? Even though kids aren't necessarily meaning for it to be, that it is. So it's
Yeah,
hard.
I could definitely relate to that. Christina, Christopher, and Kevin, thanks for joining. I was obviously way before I ever was a lesbian or more masculine representing, I was always called a tomboy. I love basketball. I loved playing basketball. I love everything about I still love basketball. I'm wearing my Knicks gear because they play tonight. I'm just that's just a passion of mine. But apparently because I was a female who liked basketball, I must be a boy. Like, that's weird, right? So, tomboy was definitely something that always stuck, and I grew up in a neighborhood where they were, predominantly white Irish girls, so they were, lighter complexions, blue or green eyes, blonde hair mostly, and petite in size, and I'm over here, like, thick as shit, Puerto Rican and Italian. So, they're like, "You have to be fat because we don't know anything that why is your ass so big?" Like, like, that type of situation, so I definitely got all the name calls for a long period of my life, and I feel like when I learned that to not allow it to like, I didn't ever react to it. I was never like, I never was baited into it, like, I never paid attention to it, because when I did as a kid, like, as a young it just got worse. Like, because now it's like, "Oh, we get a reaction of her, so let's keep calling her that. Let's keep
Yeah.
pissing her off, like, apparently on purpose." Like, people wanted that, and so I just stopped giving that to people. And now I think that that lesson has transcended itself to I'm 36 years old, and I don't give a flying fuck what anybody says about me in, like, the most respectful way. Like, you're allowed to have your
Right.
opinion. You're allowed to think what you may think about me unless you actually know me. It's an irrelevant opinion to me, but you're
Mhm.
allowed to have it. Respect to you. Um, beautifully
Yeah.
broken, so I love basketball. Go ahead.
Well, I don't say you're probably more mature than I was, like because I would just get in a fight. I would just hit
Well,
somebody if they said something to me.
maybe, or maybe my fight or flight was different, right? Like you were more fight, and I was more flight, and it was just more like I don't want the attention, I don't want the drama, I don't want to feed into any of this. So I spent a lot of more time like quiet and not like just trying to like make people like me. Like I just wanted to be liked, just like any other
Yeah,
kid, right? So I just
true.
and it was very obvious in my world that I was the different one. I wasn't like I was one of like 2, 3 kids that were not white in the class. Like it just when you're already like different from everybody else, you don't really want to fight, you know?
Yeah,
You
no,
just
for
kind of
sure.
want to like just be there. Anyway, that was my experience. I don't think either one is the right answer. But we all go through it, right? That's a part of growing up and part of life. But yeah.
True.
Beautifully Broken said that she loves basketball and to go Heat. I don't know how to
Well,
feel
and
about
I
that.
think our viewers, our other co-hosts here, probably had names they were called. I mean, what do you guys
Oh,
think?
ooh, that's a good one. All right, so chat, let us know if there's anybody in the chat that had a horrible nickname growing up. If you were picked on, please
Okay,
let us know. Horror
I'd love to
Hangouts,
hear.
thanks for joining. Um, while we wait for people to drop something, I'm gonna ask
And I,
you another question.
yeah,
All right. You've done a lot of moving, physically and
yeah,
metaphorically. It's one lesson travel has actually taught you about yourself.
travel or moving, because I guess they're maybe a little bit different. But I mean, I think it's kind of a predictable answer, but just adaptability. I mean, just how to land on my feet and get shit done. You
Uh,
know, and I mean, I think that's why I've been struggling so much here in California because this move has been really hard. So I haven't. I've been trying to
hard in
land
what
on my.
type of way, though? But hard in what type
Well,
of way?
like emotionally, I've been
Hard.
struggling a little bit here because this I lived in Colorado for 6 years before we moved here, and that was the longest time I've been anywhere since probably my early 20s since I left
Hmm.
the U.S.
Right.
I grew up in Kansas until I was like 26, and then I moved to Ecuador. And pretty much from 26 years old on, I've moved at least every year, but usually like probably on the average of every 2 or 3 years.
Hmm.
So I've never been in like 6 years in one place, felt like a lifetime. Like I had a job for 5 years doing the same
Yeah.
job. I had, you know, friends. I mean, it sounds weird to other people, but it was just like,
You
this is
were
not
rooted,
something.
rooted.
Yeah, I was rooted, and so it's just been a little bit of a struggle. It's because when you're older, and you move into a community in the U.S., like people are just insular, like it's not the same as when you're abroad and everyone is in the same boat. Like everyone is um, conscious that none of us have our family, right? So when you live abroad, you all have that expat community and you have instant friends, instant family. But here it's like people are busy doing their own thing, they already have their friends. So it's hard. It's hard
It
to
is.
break in.
It is. It is. It is very hard. And I mean, even like I'm from New York, and moving back to New York has been hard. Like I don't have the same friends that I had. I mean, for obvious reasons, but like, so I say, like, I don't even have friends right now. I cleared my table. But, the secret ingredient said Basketball Joneses, so I kind of feel like, where did that nickname come from? Javier, thanks for joining. Beautifully Broken said Shirley Temple. I think that why was that a negative one? That doesn't sound like a negative one.
Yeah, that's
Uh
so cute.
It sounds super cute. Horror Hangouts Goonie, which rhymes with my last name. Basketball Joe's this was my kick name. My brothers sang the Cheech and Chong song to me. She has a Basketball Joneses. Oh. uh, Douglas, we can definitely relate. We have DID, dissociative identity disorder, mainly because of all the bullying, aka verbal abuse, we received throughout our entire childhood. We're pretty sure that the reason we have so many female alters is because we were called girly, boy, sissy, pussy, etc., etc. How dare we live in a male body and like books and art better than sports and cars, right? Lena.
Oh, sorry.
That is like the opposite experience of me, right? How dare I be in a female body and like other things that aren't Barbies, apparently.
Mhm.
So I could definitely empathize with you, and I apologize if that was
I'm going
life
inside.
growing up. Got too hot?
Well, I'm not gonna say this, but I'm actually kind of chilly.
Oh my god. I'm over here in my hoodie in my house, like, I'm cold. I'm
No,
cold.
no, but
But
no,
yes, get comfortable. Um,
my drinks inside too.
oh yeah, well, that
But
that
thanks for
that
sharing that.
yeah,
You know.
I mean, I literally was just watching one of the earlier Friends episodes where Phoebe's husband comes back into play, and that's was just somebody that she married to have, like, a visa, but he was an ice skater, and, like, they're
Mhm,
having this whole conversation where he's like, I need action for something." She's like, "What?" And he's like, "I need a divorce. I wanna get married." And she's like, "What?" And at that point, when that show was airing in real life, gay marriage wasn't, like, legal, right? So
mhm,
she knew that meant that he liked women. And
mhm,
she was and they're having this whole conversation. He's acting like, "I know, I tried, to deny it." And it was like the reverse conversation of being heterosexual, but
mhm,
living, like, as a gay man because that's what he everybody told him he should be because he liked ice skating, you know? So it was just like a funny, like, episode to watch in 2025, like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
this is."
yeah.
But, we definitely feel for you. Nickname Basketball Jones is Big Booty. Uh-oh. Beautifully Broken, I don't know.
Maybe.
It was mortifying, though. I'm sorry. I love Shirley Temples, like, the virgin drinks. I used to drink them all the time as a kid. I thought, like, I was the coolest shit. They're yummy, and I think she's adorable, but, I get it. Brenda, thanks for joining. Um, Holy smokes, Michelle. Half an hour in, and I got, like,
Oh,
17 billion more questions. Alright.
all right.
So, trying to get one from your recent post because that one really spoke to me. What happens when you run away to find yourself?
Mhm.
So if anybody doesn't follow Michelle, this is your let's follow Michelle and then go read her recent post. Um, when you reflect on running away to find yourself, do you think it's more about geography or about what you carry inside you?
I think it's both. But so in the process of writing my memoirs, I'm writing this memoir, and I'm almost like done. I've been working on it for like 5 years. And what I realize is that, of course, there are patterns in my life. Like we all come to understand that, but it kind of goes back to this time when I was like 5 years old. We were in foster care for a while, and I had this like foundational memory of when I was in that bus station with my mom. We had, I think, gotten to visit her or something, but we had to leave. So I'm standing there, and my sister was like clinging to my mom's leg, and I was just like frozen in time because I didn't want, like, I never wanted to make a fuss. I wanted to be this like strong one. And
Mhm,
so like we turned around, we got on the bus, and I was sad, but getting on the bus was something exciting, right? Because I wasn't just leaving, I was going somewhere, right? And so that's what I realized, like, going somewhere was really important to me because it was like the escape was a way for me to leave the pain behind, but
mhm.
also it was exciting, right? Because it was
Your life's
unknown.
yeah.
So I really, like, developed that pattern. Like, when I was in high school, I legitimately had this, vision or this, like, dream of just going off into the wild, like, being dropped off in some, like, foreign, weird, like, desert land and having to find my way home. Like, that was my dream, you know? Some people dream of getting married, I dream of being, like, lost in a desert, you know? And then,
Did you ever ask anything what that dream meant?
um, I mean, that wasn't like a sleepy dream, it was like that was my what I wanted. Right?
Mm,
I mean, and for me, it was like it just meant I wanted to get away. Like I wanted to get out. I mean, I grew up in Kansas, and that like I write a lot about that too. It's kind of a void, So I thought by leaving, especially by going away, like going to another country, that I would not only escape the void, but I would like just instantaneously somehow be made something else. Like I would become something else because I left. like the world was just going to shape me like clay, right? Um, like I really, so I didn't, I mean, consciously, if I didn't think this, but unconsciously, I really thought that leaving was like a process that would change me. But really, like it does change you, but everything changes you, right? Um, so I think it was both. I mean, I've carried myself with me everywhere I went, of
Mhm.
course. And and when I was in all of these different places, like the lack of accountability, I think really caused me to like kind of go off the deep end too. You know, that's when I got into a lot of drugs and alcohol and probably went like I just had no boundaries, right? Where I probably would have had more boundaries if I were in the US. But I think I lost track of your question. But
No, you're fine. You did just fine. I again, because all it was, did you think it was more about geography or what you carried inside you? And you named it. It was a little bit of both. And your perspective of focusing on the new place as opposed to being sad of leaving the old place, especially to have that as a kid, like that's very interesting to me because I feel like that post really aligned with a lot of what I've been through in my life. And when I finally decided to leave New York, I thought that it was gonna finally be an opportunity that I got to be whoever the fuck I was because I was entering a place that had no idea who I have been. So there's no, like, accountability of who I have been. I didn't realize that I was stepping into a place that was just going to mold me to be whatever it I was supposed to be in that place.
mhm,
So, I don't know. That
yeah,
you write a lot about, the drug and alcoholism, and it like I said, it always takes me back a little bit because 'cause I'm like, "Wait, really? That really happened?" But what do you really just think that was environmental, or do you think that was you not being able to grieve certain things that you were dealing with at that time? Like, what do you how do you think that kinda started for you?
I mean, it definitely. I mean, I was a partier in high school for sure. I mean, we in
Who wasn't?
Kansas, like we would literally go out into the cornfields and drink and
Don't
do
tell me
beer
you were tipping
bongs.
cows.
We didn't tip any cows. I never tipped a
Good,
cow. I
good.
promise. So yeah, I mean, I did what I was supposed to do. Like I went to high, I didn't, graduated from high school. I graduated from college. I had jobs. Like I put myself through college. I mean, I worked hard, but I partied hard, and that was always my thing. Like I'm fine. Like I work really hard. I'm getting good grades. I can do whatever I want. I can party, and it just um as I aged, and then like it just got less. Um, it was just harder for me to live like a meaningful life with all the partying I was doing because it was deteriorating me, it was deteriorating my thoughts, my opinion of myself, of what I wanted.
Did you feel that in the moment, or do you feel that now after living it?
Sometimes I felt it in the moment, like I would go through these cycles of, like partying really hard, part like binge drinking, drugs, whatever, and then I would like kind of come to a realization, like, I would have this moment, I'd be like, "Oh god, what am I doing to myself?" And then I would, like, not drink for a few days, and start running, I was eating healthy, so it was just I would just swing from one end to the other, one end of the spectrum to the other, and because I was able to stop drinking and because I was able to, like, get healthy, but that was always evidence to me that I didn't have a problem, like, I wasn't a true alcoholic or a true anything, right? I just needed to figure
A
it out.
human in a human experience type of thing?
Yes, yes,
Mm. Yeah,
but
I was devastated, honestly, just a little bit when you came to the realization of having one of those binge nights and then coming back home to your dog and realizing, "Oh my god, she doesn't even have water." So, like, walk us
well,
through what like, so was and that wasn't the last
it was hot.
that
Guayaquil
wasn't
was hot.
that wasn't I can only imagine, but that wasn't the last moment for you, right? Like, it
No, no,
wasn't
that
until
was
you actually lost her that you were
yeah,
right?
when
Per what you wrote anyways, that's what I'm
yes,
remembering.
yeah. I mean, that the incident that I referred to in that post is basically, someone walked in, um, what like the first year that I was in Guayaquil, Ecuador, and I I had this big courtyard, so I left her outside, and it's just for the evenings. I didn't even have air conditioning, so it's definitely cooler outside in the courtyard. She had food and water and everything. But the party went, through the night and then all through the next day. I mean, it was just like a never ending binge. And then when I got home, she was just like so thirsty. She had no water. I just felt horrible. But then um, when she actually died, and then this was like 6 years later. Um, yeah, I think it was just, it really hit me. I had to take 2 days off work because that dog she was like my best friend. I traveled with her. She would ride on buses with me in Ecuador. I mean, she was literally like the one thing that had been consistently in my life, or the one being that I had in my life for that 6, 7 years. And it just floored me. Like I still have her ashes to this day. I mean, they're sitting in
I would
my home.
hope Gabby is still with you.
Yeah.
I obviously
So
have
yeah,
deliberate empathy, yeah.
yeah. So I just like after she died, it's just like I woke up. I just was like, "What are you doing? Like you're just wasting your life." Like, and I felt like kind of just blaming. I just blamed Ecuador. I
It's
was just
easier to
like,
do
it's
that,
too.
right?
It's just, yeah, because it is easy to party there. I mean, the culture is all about having fun and music and but it's not Ecuador's fault. It's my fault. So I just thought if I went somewhere else and getting this job offer in Bahrain in a country where I thought it would be dry. I thought it was a dry country and it wasn't. But
Surprise, surprise.
no. In fact, it was probably more partying there, in the clubs at least.
Hmm.
But
It's kinda crazy to think because, I know when I was growing up, clubs were a thing, like, people like, we had tea nights and everything, and nowadays, I'm just like, there isn't a club in sight. Like,
no,
I look at my 14-year-old nephew, and I'm like, "What are you supposed to do for fun?"
I
Like
know.
where are the spaces for, teens or young, like, just shy of 21 or whatever? Like, what do you do? Like, is movies really still a thing? I don't think so. So it's just like
Yeah, they're
I
walking around the
kinda
mall. I don't know.
yeah, I was like, I hated when we went to the mall when I was a teenager, but that's besides the point. Yeah, so it kinda makes like I said, it kinda makes me sad sometimes, but to think that these other countries had, like, this type of livelihood, I would have never thought that, honestly, because I just thought America was, like, the party capital of the world, apparently.
And
Surprise, surprise.
and the problem with Ecuador is that I would see my students out, like they could get into bars, and so I mean they were 11th or 12th graders, so they were like 17 or 18-year-olds, but that's not pretty when you see one of your students and you're extremely drunk.
I don't know, if you were the cool teacher, maybe they're just like, "This is fitting. This is the vibe. This is what we know of Michelle." I don't know.
Yeah, but they never let you live it down. Like I saw one of my students and I didn't even remember seeing him. I was like blackout drunk. And the next day at school, he said, he was like, "Don't you remember?" And I was like, "No." Um
Whoopsies.
and I was like, but then he kept giving me shit about it, like, day after day. And finally I was like, his name was Mateo. I was like, "Mateo, you're just gonna have to forget about it. Like, I'm sorry that you had to see me that way, but I can't handle it. Just you bring it up every day." He's like, "Miss, I will never forget that."
Mm. But again, I think, like, that type of moment was maybe a lesson for you, right? Like, your impact, the way you influence as a teacher. I get it, like, that's a lot to juggle, I would assume, because
Yeah.
you're also, still a kid yourself, and you're in a new
Yeah, I mean,
space,
I
and
was
you're
pretty
doing
young. I was like
yeah.
25, 26, and like that's the thing. It's so different, like teaching um abroad in Ecuador and all these Middle Eastern countries. The kids are just very different. The culture in the classroom is really different than in the US. So I had to wrap my head around that as well.
Listen, like I said, there's a difference between New York and Florida, and we're on the same coast, so I can
Yeah.
only
Oh
imagine
God, yeah.
going from Kansas to Ecuador and then to Bahrain, like, that's girl.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like different planets.
Yeah, again, a testament to your ability to adapt in the ways that you need to survive this world. Real quick pause, Beautifully Broken said that she was wondering if you still had her and that it makes her happy that you still have Gabby. And then she said that her and her son go to the movies often, that he loves it. I'm like, I can't get my nephew to, like, participate in anything that isn't like a video game or him playing, like, sports. He does, like, flag football, he plays basketball. He did play baseball, I don't know if he will continue that, but he played football for his school, like, those are the things that he likes, but sometimes he goes and hangs out, and apparently it's just in, like, another kid's house, and all of the boys are all in their, like, athletic, like, sports mode era, so they're trying to stay,
Mhm.
like, healthy, and all these girls, these fucking 13, 14-year-old girls are just getting shit-faced drunk in the house. And I'm just like, and it's the funniest thing. I'm just like, "Wait, so the girls are drinking, but the boys aren't?" And my sister's like, "Yeah," and she witnesses it, like, the parents are there. Again, like, it's just like, "Well, isn't it better
Weird.
that they're here in the house than I used to drink in the woods." So, yeah, totally better being in a nice house that's all safe, but
Yeah.
I don't know, but are we again, I don't have a child, so maybe you could speak a little bit more to this. Is there it people with children, like, would you prefer your child to drink in a house with parents, or would you prefer to them fucking figure it out in the world?
I mean, I would prefer that they weren't drinking,
Drinking at all? Yeah,
but
but we know that's gonna happen, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I understand that argument and I respect it, right? I do respect it, but at the same time, kids, their brains are developing, like that kind of drinking, like binge drinking is really unhealthy. And
Mhm.
if you're like, we wouldn't let our kid like binge eat or like do something that's that harmful in any other context, right? So I
Right,
just think it,
you would hope these parents don't have lines of cocaine on the table for these kids, right? Like, they're not participating and taking shots with them. I have no idea, but,
yeah,
we know that we can't stop our, like, children from experimenting and
yeah,
trying alcohol, but I think what is more impactful is just education, right? I've done it, owning up to, as a parent, that I've done it, and here are the things that I wish somebody told me before I continue to do it. Right?
oh yeah,
Like, and that way, I'm just educating you, and if it scares the shit out of you and you never wanna pick up a can of beer, awesome.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, for
Just
sure. I'll definitely be like that with my son. He's only 10 right now, but
I know, we don't wanna make
he's
him
going to be
grow
a
up too
problem.
fast. Is
He's
he?
going to be, yeah. I mean, he's 10 and he's already like doing his hair. He's got the
The
styling
gel?
gel and he's got he stole my concealer to like cover up his zits and he doesn't really even have
I'm
zits.
over here on a live, like, "Oh, which one?" Like, I don't even care.
Did you borrow my concealer?
I wouldn't. I mean, I found out the hard way that I was allergic to makeup.
Oh, well, you don't need it. You have great skin.
I didn't. I actually
Take a
I had a point.
compliment. Take a compliment.
Thank you. There was a point in my life where I didn't, so I am very happy that it has improved. But yeah, it was the weirdest thing. It was like one of those moments as a teenager, you're just trying to, like I said, fit in with the girls, and they all used to wear like eyeliner and stuff. So I used to put eyeliner on and some other shit, and all of a sudden, like I just broke out like I was crazy, and I was like, actually, thank God, because I didn't want to wear it. So it was like now I had a reason why I didn't have to wear it, and people, like, expected it, like, "No, I'm actually allergic, so I can't," and it was like a saving grace for me because I didn't have to be honest about the fact, like, "I don't wanna wear this shit."
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
actually
Saying
thankful
you're
for those
allergic.
things.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
lot of people that are sober say that
Mhm.
about alcohol and liquid. And it is like it is in a way an allergy for
Yeah,
alcohol.
I don't want I mean, just the crazy thing is like, I feel like alcohol really was my gateway drug, like, that was
Yeah.
like, tea drinking was definitely what led to, like, all the other things that I decided to abuse, but I don't like alcohol. Like, I don't like the way it tastes, I don't like the way I feel, I don't like being hungover, I don't like being drunk, like, there is nothing about it, but you put weed, coke, ecstasy, or anything in front of me that is or a Xanax, like, I'm like, "Yes, I'm here for it, always."
Yeah.
So
For
that's
sure. And
those are
I
those
think
are
it's
my
easier. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's easier for kids now to get weed for sure.
Well, I mean, it's legal in a lot more places
Yeah.
than it used to be, and it doesn't even have the same, like, crime situation. Like, I used to sit inside a car and hotbox it with my friends on a street, and one day a cop, like, rolled up and, like, "What are you guys doing?" What? Now it reeks of weed, and now it's not legal, and at that point, it wasn't legal in New York, so the person who was in the driver's seat was the one who got in trouble for everything, but life is crazy. I'm like, that was my life, and now I'm over here like, well, before I stopped quitting, I could walk down the street in New York and nobody was. It would just be like I was smoking a cigarette. Some people don't like the smell, but it's fucking air. Like
Yeah,
then somewhere
nobody,
else.
yeah, nobody would blink.
No. Beautifully Broken said, "Oh my god, mine is 12. I feel this so hard." Yeah, raising young boys is definitely not easy, but I'm assuming raising young girls aren't any easier either. Being a parent is never easy, and it's
Kids are
forever
not
changing.
easy. Kids
Yeah.
are not easy. Okay.
So, I'll be honest, at my age, at 36, I had, like, a moment like, "Oh my god, like, I'm really never gonna be a mom." Like, I had that, like, that moment, and I was like, "I'm actually okay with that," because I don't think that I could do it. Like, in the sense of, like, the way that I feel, the way I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it. I think I would go crazy the entire time, and my mom was, like, one of those helicopter moms that, like,
Yeah.
texts me all the time, like, "Where are you? What are you doing? What" and I'm like my responses were always like, "Out. I'm out." Like, if my kid told me that, "What are you fucking talking about, Grandma?" Like, so I'm like, yeah, I would go a little bit crazy. I would have too much anxiety, so I'm actually very thankful that I don't have
Yeah.
something that I created that's walking on this earth that I feel like I have to protect every 24/7. So again, nothing but
It's
respect for
hard.
all parents.
It is. And I think, it's that's something women in particular always wonder at your age. I mean, when I was your age, 36, 37, I was like, do I want to have kids? But I think you have to be really sure. Like you really should want it before you
Mhm.
just, it shouldn't just be like, oh no, maybe. Because
"Oh, look, it happened. So I'm doing
it
it." I mean, my
really changes your life. I mean, I was 44 when I had my son, so I was definitely older. So I had almost like a full life without kids, and now I'm having this other life with kids, and
yeah.
it's it's way harder to have kids. And part of it is because, like they say, like your heart is living outside your body. Like caring and loving someone else that much, and like the fear and anxiety, and like, I'm always thinking, like, what's gonna happen when he does wanna drink? What's gonna when he wants to drive? Like, I don't want him driving in California on these highways. So I can't think about it too much. You just have to, like, take it one day at a time, but yeah, it's no joke.
I mean, I love my nephew like as if he was my kid, and that's good enough for me because he goes to me all the time. He's like, "Yo, my mom won't let my friend drive me home." And my sister's like, "His friend is a girl who's a junior who only has a permit." And I'm like, "Tristan, you don't wanna drive with the new driver. Like,
Oh,
no. No, I come get you and I come drop you off, like, I can drive crazy because 'cause I've been doing it for long, like, it's safe with me, even if I'm
yeah.
reckless, like, like, you don't know because it was a really rainy night and he wanted a friend of his to drive him home, and I was like, "Absolutely not. It is storming out there, you are not going in a new driver's car." And I'm like, "Who the fuck am I?"
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck am I?
Your
It's a
mama.
very weird right, but it's a very weird experience to care about something that isn't you more than you sometimes, so I can only
Yeah,
empathize with my sister as my nephew continues to get older. I'm over here like, "Wow, this is wild,
yeah.
wild." Elijah, thanks for joining. Real quick, Beautifully Broken said, "I lost custody when he was 9 months old, and we were reunited in August of 2024." Wow. So
Oh
you
my
guys are
god.
making it for a lot of lost children.
I'm about to start crying. Did she
Yeah,
not?
that's a lot of lost.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to have Beautifully Broken on this one day so that she can kinda share that story a little bit more with people when and if she's ever ready, but yeah, that's tough. That's definitely tough. Before I ever have to say goodbye to the amazing Michelle, I wanna get to a couple more questions, if that's alright. Um, what's a coping mechanism you've leaned on too much in the past and one that actually works now?
I mean, I think we've already talked about it, but alcohol, it's just like when you get home from teaching, it's like it's a very teaching is a very emotionally draining job, right? And you're talking all day, so you just want like you want to check out. You want to like have a drink or smoke or whatever and like check out of your mind. Um, but of course, it works momentarily, but it doesn't, it's not a great overall strategy. I mean, and now I think, I mean, it's exercise probably or yoga or meditating is definitely something that helps. Um,
Yoga to me is a lot harder than people, like, pretend that it is. Like, to me, I feel like my body a lot of the times is like, "Nope." And I know it's, like, after redundancy and, staying consistent with it, it does become a lot easier and you are helping yourself, but, yoga is no fucking joke, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, you just have to start small, like, just do a couple of poses, like, you don't have to go to a class and spend an hour, doing, warriors and all those different sequences, like, just do a few poses, like, look up just Google, like, a pose, like, maybe your lower back hurts, a yoga pose for my lower back, and to do that
Mhm.
thing, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
you can or, like,
Yeah,
a 3 or 4 pose sequence and do that, it'll take 10 minutes a day, you know what I mean?
yeah, start
Instead
small
of
is always the motto.
yeah.
But I do have a lot of respect because I know, like, athletes do a lot of yoga too because it's, flexibility and stuff, so, whew, I love that in our healthier era, walking and exercise is what we reach for and water than any type of alcohol. You know what, it made me think though, when you talk about alcohol consumption and, like, that I had a hard day, so what's, like, one glass of wine to unwind? Like, right? Like, there's this and then that person has, like, a glass of wine every night. Now does that mean that they have a problem? Or
I
is
don't
it
think
is it some right, like, or is it something like or do you feel like sometimes society or any like, 'cause in that case, you were in different ones, but do you think society kinda has normalized alcohol to the point where we really don't ever think that we have a problem? Because it's just like, "Come on, I earned it," you
yeah, I
know?
mean, I think you have to be pretty, um, you have to be a problem drinker to the point of alcoholism before people really recognize it as a problem, right? And
Right.
and people differentiate, like, between a problem drinker and an alcoholic, but a problem drinker is still someone who's, like, has is waking up with hangovers and calling in sick to work a lot or, not losing friends or, their relationships are disrupted or whatever. But I think society, yeah, we've just normalized alcohol. It's just what we do. You know, if we
We're
have
bec
if we have issues around it, it's fine. Like we just have to drink smarter or whatever.
we're healthier, right? Because there's alcohol that is, like, healthy. Like, it's got no calories or anything, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't affect your liver magically, I have no idea. Like, it's just
Yeah.
it is to me, sometimes I look at it and I'm just like, "Wasn't there, like, a whole, like, law back in the day that was, like, it was illegal to have alcohol?" Like,
Yeah.
wasn't that a thing? It's like because those humans knew that there was nothing positive that came from it, but because companies could make so much money off of it, they're like, "No, no, this has to be legal and people have to drink it because we need it." I don't know.
Yeah.
Again,
No.
I go down rabbit holes all the fucking time, and I'm like, the way that this world is just if we can make money from it, it's allowed to be here, you know?
Yeah. Hmm.
Uh, but let's not go off on my tangent. Uh, all right. As 2025 comes to a close, what are you leaving behind that you no longer need to carry?
I mean, I think I'm leaving a lot of shame behind, and I mean, I'm 55 now, so I've been through a lot
Beautiful,
of
stunning.
therapy, and I've been through a ton of different um, kind of ways for me to like process my issues or whatever. But nothing has been more helpful than writing this memoir. I mean, this memoir
Mm,
helped me see the patterns. Like there were sometimes I was writing it like I would just cry, and it was like a deep, like soulful like connection, because I wasn't able to reach that until I wrote about it, until I wrote about it and not just put it on the page, but put it on the page in a way that it would connect to someone else. Like like write it, form it in a way that it made someone else feel the same thing or it could elicit that feeling from someone else. And so then my issues and my shame and whatever the negative things were, they've become something more beautiful. Like they've kind of become art. And it's just a relief, right? Because you can talk to your therapist and your therapist can say like, you're not your behavior, your path doesn't define you. And it doesn't. But when you write about it, it's it becomes something else. Like you're reclaiming your past and you're transforming it into something that's beautiful. And that to me is it was just so worth all the time that I've invested in it. And I
Mm,
hope
it's
people read it.
but people will. The secret ingredient said beautiful. I don't disagree. And John, thanks for joining us at the end of this loveliness. Um, it's funny because the first time you were on the show, we talked about your memoir, and I
Mhm.
think we said something that you would have by December, and I don't know what it was, but
Yeah,
did we
no, I
accomplish?
don't. But yes, I'm on my last edits. I do have a proofreader lined up.
Nice.
So, and I have the cover. And like I have everyone in place because I'm self-publishing it. So I have all the people in place to put it together. So I'm shooting for like March, April as my maybe May as my release date. But I'll definitely let you know. I'll let
Is
everyone
this
know.
going to? Are you self-publishing? Is it going to be like on Amazon as well, or are you?
Yeah, it's gonna be on
Where would we find it?
it'll be on Amazon and I think it'll be on whatever the Barnes and Noble one is because I want people in the Middle East to be able to buy it and there's no Amazon
Right.
in so what's it called? I can't remember what Barnes and Noble.
They have a
Sparks.
program or a website that
Sparks.
has
Ingram
that makes
Sparks. Yeah, it's
nice.
similar to KDP, Ingram
Hmm.
Sparks.
Well, I'm
So
excited. That means I guess you're gonna have to when you finally publish it, I guess we'll have to do a live to mark that milestone. I'm very proud of you. I think you're an amazing human, and I didn't realize until, like, reading your piece today how much there is of similarity of our stories, and even though you're, 54 and I'm 36, it still there's resonance in it that's beautiful, and that's why I think your book is going to do great because as long as you can continue to hit the lessons and be self-aware about what you've learned from it, I think it'll continue to help other people. And as usual, I always get emotional because I have no idea. I have literally no idea, but I adore you, and I'm very thankful that Substack has been able to connect us. And you know, I'm a fan of yours as a human,
yeah, yeah,
and your writing. But to me, doing this today, I am officially 4 weeks sober,
that's
which is
amazing.
kind of fucking crazy. You are going to be
Mhm.
my 30th episode and my
Wow.
last year of
You've done
2025,
a
and
lot this
just
year. Yeah.
but I feel like you've been around for it all, and I've gotten to witness a lot of your stuff too, so it's like I love the full circle moment of here, and I love that, 2025 was probably one of my hardest years, but I think we can say that about every year if we look back on it. There's always a
Yeah.
lesson to learn in life, right? But this year definitely tried and tested me, and the fact that I got an opportunity to meet somebody like you who, yeah, lived some things before me and had to learn the lessons that I had to learn, it helps me, continue to understand my own reckoning and stuff. And I love that you said that writing this helped you reclaim your own past. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's why I like the diary style reflective writings that I do is because I get to form the narrative. I get to say, and
Yeah.
a lot of times I'm not bullshitting anything. I'm just this is the real. Like, I don't sugarcoat shit. I don't make it so people like me more. Like, I just write it. Like,
Yeah.
so that's why I respect the way you present your story as well.
Yeah. You are in control of the narrative, and that's important, especially as a
Yeah.
woman, and these are our stories and they become more powerful when we actually decide to tell them. Like we're not just simmering in them in the past. Like when they take on a life of their own when we tell them. Because I mean I could have written this book and these like I have some pretty outrageous stories and they would have been a good book because of that, right? But I took a lot more time to write it and to process it and to really like massage the language. So it is going, I feel like it's going to be useful for anyone, like anyone that's interested in um, an adult coming of age. That's kind of what it is, right?
Yeah.
Story. Like I think people relate to it, and that's what I want for people to read it and to feel like like they've gone through the same things that I've gone through and they've come out the other side, in
No.
a better place.
Yeah, I think there's a Substack note tag, that I've been a part of a lot, and it was like, what is something that, you know, you wish adulthood was explained to you or something like that, like the reality of stuff. And I just feel like there's a lot of things that went unsaid when I was growing up, and I'm sure you could probably I can only assume that you could probably relate to that as well. Like, I love that we're in the era of say your shit, tell your story, because I guarantee
Mm.
you somebody else has something very similar. And your strength to finally say it and reclaim it helps that person also do that too. So I love the way that
Yeah.
you make impacts by just sharing, you know?
Yeah, you do, and you give other people permission to do the same. And
Yeah. And
that's one thing that Substack has been great for. I feel like there are a lot of people writing on here, like Jessie, she shares her memoir. I mean, there's just so many people that are sharing in that way, and they get it, right? They're creating a conversation around, sharing your story. Like, you don't have to write a memoir, but I do believe you should reclaim your story and tell it,
Mhm.
even if you're just telling it to yourself. So,
Which sometimes that's the hardest audience if you're honest about things, right? You
right.
know, when I would assume you had to really look at yourself when you're writing this to like, well, did that really happen like that? Like, am I being honest with
Yeah.
myself? Was that really what I felt like in the moment? Like, every time I reflect back on an older version of me, I'm always like, let's be real. I have had no boundaries my whole life. Again, everything that has happened to me, I can blame everybody else, but ultimately, like, it's me, my decisions, and the things that, or the lack of love that I've had for myself. That's why I've had the life that I've had. You know, I can't point outwards. I can only look inwards and continue to learn from that. But real quick before we ever sign off, Beautifully Broken said, "I love to watch to learn about you just as much as your guest. Thanks." And, the secret
Mhm.
ingredient said, "Well said." I'm gonna actually one final question, and then we're gonna, I guess,
Sure.
enjoy the rest of our days if you have a second.
Mhm.
The last thing
Yeah.
is, and finally, if someone listening wanted to start fresh in 2026, what's the one piece of wisdom you'd offer them first?
I think just be kind to yourself, love yourself as hard as you love other people. I
Mm,
mean, you don't necessarily have to put yourself first, but just give yourself grace. And I think that's what my memoir taught me too. It's just like, you have to treat yourself with respect and with love and unconditionally, right? Like, there was one time I was writing my memoir and it was a really painful thing. And without even thinking about it, I just wrote, like, I wish I could go back in time and hug that girl, because it's just like, why was I beating myself up like that? Um, so yeah, just be kind to yourself and love yourself, and you're gonna get through it, whatever
and
it is.
I don't know why, I just feel like I've heard, love like, nobody can love you, unless you love yourself, like, that type of like, I've heard these cliche things literally my whole life, but I don't know why in my 30s it really started to actually sink in and make sense, and it's something like it's such a simple truth, like, right? You have to love yourself, and if you don't, like, it's very obvious in the things that continue to happen outwards with you, so,
Yeah, you have to
I
turn
think it's just
inward.
right, I think it's just really hard for people to learn how to do that. Like, I think my hardest thing is giving myself grace because 'cause I'm always over here like, "I have to be better, I have to do better." And then when I step back and, do that little, "Hmm, why do I feel like I have to do all that?" And then really continue to unfold the trauma of my childhood, like, people really have to take a step back, and I think it was interesting for me when I learned that, like, your brain is, like, growing into, like, your 20 something, and at that point, I had, you know, done alcohol and a whole bunch of drugs, so, like, how much did
Mhm.
I impair my own development?
Yeah.
And I did what I could that I knew how to during those times, and it was literally to survive, like, that's all I've been trying to do is survive my own life, so, um, I think that's when I could start giving myself grace, like, I did the best that I could with what I had, and that's
Yeah.
the way to keep moving forward with it, but
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the reason people have such a hard time is because they're not comfortable sitting with themselves. I mean, that's really what yoga and meditation taught me. Taught me to turn inward and not feel awkward. Like, just to be able to sit with myself in whatever way I showed up that day And, that that is the practice. Like that's what you have to do. It's not going to be easy if you're so used to having this external focus to like sit down and say like, "Ooh, who am I today? Like, can I just sit and watch and see what happens?"
Mm,
And I do believe that when we're born, everything that we need to live a full life is within us,
mm,
and we have to turn inward to find it and bring it out. There's nothing out there that we need. Like whatever's out there will help bring the internal gifts we have out. But
mm.
there's nothing that we have to take from this world. Like we just have to be open to experiencing what will let our gifts come to the surface.
It's so crazy that you said that because, like, the last couple of weeks, the mantra that I continue to speak to myself is everything you need is within you. Like that,
Totally.
I literally say that to myself, like, 30 times a day, like, just reminding myself that, like, my own life is a testament to what I can do. So, like, the fact that you just said it kind of, like, again, validation, um, for me knowing that I'm getting to where I need to be, you know?
You are. I wish I
Yeah.
could give you a big hug right now.
I know,
Oh,
I'm
hug.
such an emotional mess. I went to the doctors yesterday and I was like, "I don't know if I'm perimenopausal, I'm fucking going crazy, bro."
No,
And they're like
you're sober. Like when you get sober, you feel more deeply,
yeah,
really.
I've always been an empath, and I think that that's what led to my addiction was just because I felt so much all the fucking time.
Yeah,
It
you have
was
to dull it.
overwhelming. Yeah, so I had to do something to numb out a little bit, so I'll be honest, like, the last 2, 3 days, I've like, "I just wish I could smoke a joint. I just wanna sleep, like, I just wanna relax," and I'm trying to teach my brain that that's, like I can associate, like, coloring, like, just color and then you'll feel calm, like, that calmness is what help you that'll help you sleep, like, you don't need to smoke to sleep,
Yeah.
like, so I'm just trying to do that a little bit, but as
Do and
usual
snuggle. Like hug your sister, hug your nephew,
I spend every day with Onyx, and I'm, like, constantly like, "You wanna cuddle?"
hug your dog. Yeah,
Yeah.
that really helps. Like
I'm
the
that
contact is
touch, yeah,
important. Yeah,
yeah,
it helps.
Frankie says meditation is great. I also
Yes.
love that you stayed the entire time, so thank you for being so
Thank
present
you.
with us, 'cause that just made my whole day, Frankie, thank you. Whew, well, Michelle, this is one for the ages,
I'm gonna peace
again,
out.
thank you so much for being my last live of 2025. I like, e
Yes, I'm so glad we did this. It's
yeah,
amazing.
I can't thank you enough. Obviously, the replay will be up hopefully tomorrow when I have time, but you've been in the inner room where the conversations go deep, the connections surprise, and the truths linger long after the world quiets down. Until next time, keep listening inward because that's where the stories that shape us really live. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Thank you for being with us. Bye,
Thank
my
you.
friend.
Thanks for coming. Bye. Love you. Take care.
Bye.